Welcome back to Under Oath. Now, when you drop your kid off somewhere, do you expect him to be in the same condition when you pick him up? I mean, is it reasonable?
I expect him
is
to
a
be
reasonable
in
expectation?
better condition than when I dropped him off. Otherwise, why am I dropping them off anywhere?
Well, because you don't
I
want
want them to be better at something. They better be better at something when I come back and get them.
Or you just don't want to have them for that period of time.
It's a twofer.
Okay. So the real benefit is they get
for
better.
That time period, and they need to be better at doing something.
Okay.
I don't care what it is. Better at volleyball, better at math. I don't care. Something. Get better at it.
Now, I drop them off. Summer camp, basketball camp, wherever. And you fill out a waiver. And that waiver says, hey, listen, there's a chance your kid's going to get hurt and you can't sue us. What do you think? Do you sign it?
Oh, yeah. Always sign those waivers.
You have to sign it.
You have to.
They won't let you drop.
You can't participate if you don't sign those waivers. But let me tell you something, folks. Just because you signed a waiver does not mean you have given up all your rights to sue. I can tell you personally, we have represented people who have signed waivers, and we've successfully represented them, gotten them handsome settlements, despite the fact that they signed waivers.
Now, here's the thing. I drop my kid off anywhere. The average age of the person watching that kid is probably 19 to 21 years old.
If there's not particular language, very, very specific language that informs you that that waiver that you're signing also releases the camp and the instructors for their own negligence, if they don't spell that out specifically, and you'd be shocked, most times they don't, then you have not waived all of your rights. You can still sue if the camp itself was negligent.
Kid's taken to a water park. He was in regular camp, like a day camp. And they go, oh, we're going to do a little trip. Take him to a water park. Now,
8-year-old kid.
8-year-old kid. Kid breaks his tooth, loses 75% of the tooth. Kid wasn't supposed to be there anyway, but snuck onto the bus. Snuck onto the bus.
That's funny. All right, who do you want me to represent? You want me to represent the parents or the school?
Yeah, represent the parents.
Parents?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, that's easy. Who the heck is monitoring who gets on and off that bus? Do you mean to tell me you don't have a list of the kids that are authorized to go to the park? That's negligence. That's exactly what I was talking about. That waiver that you signed probably didn't say, hey, by the way, you also are waiving any claim that you have against us who run the camp if we do something that's wrong. Not just that your kid might get hurt because he's diving off a dive board or slips and falls next to the pool because, it's slippery. But we didn't take precautions to make sure. And are you kidding me? An 8-year-old sneaks onto a bus.
Yeah. What do you mean I can't go to the water park?
That screams negligence. How'd the kid get on the bus?
Yeah, there's a lot of.
Without him walking by at least one adult.
In this case, was this kid not allowed? He said camp. So some of the campers got to go to the water park. He's mad because he can't. He sneaks onto the bus. I mean, they recognize him as a camper, I guess. I mean, you just don't load a bunch of kids up and then just hand them out.
Hopefully they at least did that much.
Maybe he wasn't supposed.
Neighborhood kids didn't just show up for the bus and get on who weren't even enrolled in the camp.
See, when I went to camp, the only reason why you weren't allowed to go to certain places is because you screwed up.
That's true.
That was the way. You were bad. You were put on detention, whatever. Now, here's the thing I'm going to argue. 75% of a tooth for an 8-year-old is what? A baby tooth, most likely.
Probably.
So do you get paid for baby teeth?
No, I don't think you get. Well, yeah, you get paid for baby teeth if they come out too early.
Why?
Because it's painful.
Another one's going to grow.
Yeah, but still hurts.
How much is your pain and suffering when there's no medical damages?
When you are old enough to have baby teeth still? That is the greatest pain and suffering in the world. That is the most pain
I'm suing my parents.
That child has ever experienced is probably losing a tooth.
I'm suing my parents then. They attach. Remember the strings attached to doors? They even get paid. Here's your $5.
Well, they were helping you remove your tooth when it was supposed to come out.
Here's your tooth. There's $5.
No, that's completely different.
Why?
You were supposed to lose the tooth then.
You're going to lose it anyway. What are your real damages? If
your
it's
real
back,
damages are it hurts.
It hurts.
And you're
Let's
like,
call
think
the
about
ambulance.
Think about it. You're 6. Is there anything more painful?
He's
8. Whatever. Same thing. That's the most pain that he's ever been in.
It's going to happen anyway. You're going to be in pain anyway.
No. It hurts a lot less when it's supposed to come out.
This was quick.
Yeah, it was a fall.
This is quick. I'm sure it was quick.
But I'm sure it hurt.
Now, I will argue that they probably have to pop this thing off. They probably
Well,
have
they
to
can't
figure
leave a jagged.
Yeah, you can't have a
knife in his mouth,
snaggletooth.
yeah.
He's one of those kids who's going through you always had that kid with the bad teeth.
I really didn't hear you offer too much of a defense for the school, though.
Yeah, I'm not. Come on.
He
got onto the damn bus.
indefensible.
He got onto the damn bus.
Even you as the school representative would say, all right, yeah.
I'm who was in charge of the clipboard?
Yeah.
That's what I would say. There's always a clipboard when you have these things. There's always the clipboard.
You would hope.
They call their names out to make sure they got on the bus and off the bus.
Flip it around, kid drowns.
Water
Kid
park,
drowns.
water park, and the school.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need to make sure people. Of course, somebody's going to knock their teeth out at one of these things. Somebody's kid's going to fall on his face. It happens at every water park. There's more concrete in that thing.
They should just set up a dental office at the water park.
I don't know a water park that doesn't have concrete. I mean, you're burning it sooner or later. First off, it's hot. You're running.
Yeah.
I mean, more teeth are probably lost on a daily basis in those places. They're like,
You know what surprises me as a personal injury attorney? I visit these water parks here in Central Florida, and all of the areas next to, like when you go to sit down on the slide, like a lot of times they have these steel bars for you to hold on.
Yeah.
Has it not occurred to anybody to wrap these steel bars with, I don't know, something soft, some kind of pad? I mean,
Fungus.
you only
Fungus.
know that the people are getting ready to stand on a slippery, wet slide. Like, is it too much to envision that they're going to slip and hit the handrails? I mean, don't you want them if they're going to hit fungus? What are you talking about?
Fungus. That's why you can't wrap this stuff in like foam or anything, because it gets funky. Yeah. Mold. You can't clean them.
Oh, wait. So in your version of this, they just put the wrapping on one time and never do anything after that? They just leave it on for all the time?
You think
no one ever takes
you
off
can
and
clean
cleans it?
wrapping every day from water?
Yeah.
No, it's funky.
Yeah.
It'll go bad.
I don't know. It's a lot of chlorine. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of chlorine. I don't think algae grows in
between
chlorine.
pee. You know that chlorine doesn't stop pee. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. Doesn't chlorine kill the pee?
Nothing. No, it's a myth. Yeah, no, you're drinking that pee. Nope. I'm
I think
serious.
you're just
Google
making
it,
sense.
everybody.
You're making up.
Google
You're making
it.
up.
Chlorine does nothing for pee.
It has to.
Nothing.
What is a more powerful cleaner than chlorine?
Pee.
You
Pee is
gotta
stronger than
clean
chlorine.
things with pee.
No. Bleach.
That's what chlorine
No.
is.
Water mixed with bleach is not super bleach. I'm telling you. Pee lasts.
I think you're just making
No,
this up.
that's why they have this chemical in the pool sometimes they throw in to show when somebody pees.
I don't think there is such a chemical.
There's
I
a
think
pee
that's the
chemical.
myth. I think that's the myth.
You haven't seen it?
I've never seen that. I don't think it exists.
Well, I'm going to make sure to take you to one of these pools one day. I'm going to
You
let you
might
see it
not.
on your own.
You might not want to take
Oh,
me
I'm
to
not
the-
going in the pool with you. I just sit there and go take pictures from the side going, yeah, look, pee. That's the problem we have. Anywhere you go, there's a certain amount of danger. For example, take your kid to wrestling camp. Kid gets dropped on his head. This happened at Chattanooga wrestling camps. Kid suffered a significant injury. Wrestler dropped him on his head. That's going to happen. He's wrestling.
Yeah, that's something that normally happens. But if that kid got dropped on his head because they brought in a bunch of college wrestlers to toughen the kids up and kind of, teach them to be a little bit tougher, and he's wrestling somebody way out of his weight category, then I think you still have a cause of action, even though you signed a waiver. Even though it's the exact same injury that he would have suffered had it happened with a kid his own size, age, and experience.
What about no supervision? They're not having much supervision when this is going on.
Well, yeah. I mean, you could be standing right there when it happens. That's not a lack of supervision.
Yeah, well, in wrestling, there's a bigger deal because
Well, and your
when
coach
somebody
wants
gets
you-
picked up, somebody says, hey.
Your coach wants you to pick up the opponent, right?
Well,
I mean, that's what they
wrestled.
teach you to
well,
do it.
No,
they teach you to
not
do
to
this.
drop you on your head and stuff like that.
Well,
but if you have a
You're
coach,
supposed to drop them on their shoulder, and sometimes you miss. You try
do you
to
think
drop
this
them on
is
their back.
WWF or real wrestling?
Real wrestling.
Okay.
Real Olympic style wrestling. I see them pick each other up and slam all the time, especially in Olympic style wrestling all the time.
Yeah, I look at this and I'm trying to figure this out. This happens in football. This happens in regular sports all the time, like football injuries, head injuries, things like that. And the idea of, that a kid's going to get hurt. We had a case where a cheerleader
Yes.
got hurt.
And that's how I know to tell everyone out there, listen, just because you sign a waiver doesn't mean that waiver is effective for that particular injury.
You remember what happened during that depositions?
So listen, if you have a kid, let me interrupt just for a second. If you have a kid, or you have somebody sign a waiver and they got hurt, don't automatically think you don't have a case. Take it to an attorney, bring them that waiver, and let them make their own independent assessment on that. Trust me.
Just, in this case, what happened was this young lady was, cheerleading, and they took them out to the school. And because the school didn't like the way the area was getting worn down, they stuck them in a different area to do their, pretty serious throws and everything, where people were 2, 3, 4 on top of each other. And the ground wasn't clear, and they threw these crappy tarps up. And this girl is suffering for the rest of her life. I mean, she's a traumatic brain injury. And I remember asking the people in charge why they did it. And the strange thing was this. There was a lot of, let's say, less than forthright answers. And then we found the real answer. One person admitted, he goes, listen, the fact is that we didn't like the way the grass was growing under them. So we changed. We went to this area. Nobody thought about it. There was no great areas to work off of, and nobody was really watching them. And even the teacher who was involved with it was upset beyond belief. But the answer was, why didn't you let them say, no, you're not allowed to do this here? But, people don't care because they think those waivers will allow them to get away with anything.
They do. They are the people who have you sign the waivers. A lot of times they misunderstand them as well. They're operating as though they have complete immunity, and they really don't.
This happens all the time. Different situations like this, but one of the ones that really are tough. You send your kid to, let's say, basketball camp, and he's 8, and you leave and you come back and you found out, yeah, he got hurt. How'd he get hurt? Well, we didn't have enough kids to play. So he was playing with some, 16, 17-year-old.
The 8-year-old.
The 8-year-old. And he took a hard hit.
Yeah. Was his name Michael Jordan or something like that? No? Was he at least as tall as the other kids? If not, I think you're asking for a lawsuit there.
Imagine I'm playing and the other team, I'm on a team where we just have biological women. It's a high school team. And it's field hockey. And that's a pretty strong sport. They're smacking sticks around. You get smacked pretty hard with that. But the other team has somebody who but somebody who identifies as a woman, but he is a grown-ass man. He's 18 years old, big. I mean, he's not going through anything yet. No hormones, no nothing. He just identifies, but he's this 240-pound, lineman. And he takes her out. I mean, just knocks her with the stick, comes out aggressive, just takes her completely out, using an effort that most women would not have. Would my waiver cover that?
I don't think so.
Now, who do I sue? Who do I sue now?
Well, you sue the organization that's putting the game together, the organization that's responsible for putting the teams against each other.
So I sue my school.
Yep, the school.
I sue the other team.
Yeah, yep.
I sue the organization itself, the school board.
If it's separate, yeah. A lot of times it's just school versus school, and there's not an individual athletic league, but sometimes there are.
Why?
Why sue them?
Yeah. Why? What? Under what term? If it was a biological female who did it, I wouldn't be that.
Well, that's the great thing about negligence. It's very encompassing, and all you have to do is show a jury that what the decision maker did, they made an unreasonable decision.
Now, when we
is
talk
it
about
unreasonable to put somebody who is much stronger, much faster, and who's a male,
biological male,
against females? Is that a reasonable, especially in field hockey? I mean, bowling, okay. Maybe competitive bowling, sure. I can see that. But field hockey where they actually hit each other? That's not a prudent decision.
When we think about what goes on in sports, professional sports, I've been watching a little WNBA this year.
Yeah, me too.
Shut.
Me
okay,
too.
Okay.
I actually know one of the players. Guess which player's name I know. Guess. Can you guess? I bet you can.
Oh, sure I can.
What's the name?
I was thinking of the other girl, but I can't remember her name. I was right about to not say Caitlin Clark. But I was going to say Angel. I was going to say Angel. What's the other girl's name?
The one she's fighting with all the time? I don't know. I don't know her name.
She played for LSU. That's all I know. Point is this. There have been a lot of serious hits in that game. I've been watching some of the hits they've been doing to each other. And I'm talking other people from different teams. I mean, just like mean hits. And some are really good, but not as good as some of the NBA hits I've seen, where a player just clotheslines somebody and takes him out. And I'm going to attribute this to just being significantly physically bigger and stronger. And I think that comes into play when we talk about, we're not talking about discrimination. We're not talking about anything else. We're talking about basic safety. And only lawyers can really have this conversation because you're making it from both sides. You're trying to figure out a way where somebody is not responsible for potentially hurting somebody else. And I think that's something we don't talk about when we talk about these issues, because if my daughter's on a team and gets physically like clobbered by somebody who is just physically more dominant naturally, and I'm not talking, they've got a big girl on the team. I'm talking somebody we have yet to discover. And this is a fact. There's never been a lineman in the NFL who's been a woman. And the reason why, it's not because women aren't competent. It's because size is unbelievably important as far as linemen go.
And
they have to weigh a certain amount.
So strength.
They have to be big. The average lineman has to be around 300 pounds.
At least.
Speed, agility, and strength and size. Now, there's never been a woman, a biological woman, who could be that. So knowing that there are physical limitations to this, I mean, is it even safe in a situation? I'm not talking swimming or gymnastics or volleyball. Well, I don't know. Volleyball can be dangerous depending on the hits.
Volleyball. There's a case specifically of this happening in volleyball where a lady competitor got a concussion from a female identifying male playing volleyball and spiking the ball.
That was so tough for you, wasn't it? Was that hard for you?
Spiking a little bit.
Okay.
Spiking the ball right into the face of this woman, of this girl.
Yeah.
Concussion.
And here's the thing.
None of the other women could hit the ball that hard that would give that woman a concussion.
I never look at it in the sense of, and this might be selfish or non-understanding. I never look at it in the sense of feelings, the feelings of either player. I look at it as somebody who used to be a sports agent, who's been taught statistics and strength and agility and tests that NFL players have to do and NBA players have to do. Like the tryouts for an NBA player, people think, oh, you just shoot the basketball. No. They have very specific workouts that they have to do when they're bringing somebody in, and for each position, to test their agility, test how fast they are, test accuracy. I can tell you right now, there isn't a single WNBA player who could start in the NBA because physically, it's just not possible. First off, you have to use the regulation size ball, and you're not faster, you're not stronger, and you just don't have the build. Even the strongest center in the WNBA couldn't play on an NBA team. And there's a reason why. It's because it's just physically unfair.
The U.S. Olympic team used to practice against a high school soccer team to try and make themselves better. And the boys soccer team would routinely beat the U.S. Olympic women's soccer team.
It's unfair. And my feeling is this: I don't really care. The fact is this: I'm gonna be straight with you. I love watching trans athletes compete because I love seeing possibly something go wrong. I do. I love the entertainment factor. I like the conflict. I like the faces that other competitors had to have. If I ever had to compete, for example, let's say in my high school, if there was some guy on the team who was like in the NFL who showed up, I'd look across that line. I'd be scared to death because I know the reality of it. And I think there should be opportunities for people who identify and who feel these ways, and they should be included. The question
they are included. They have opportunities. Nobody is saying that they can't play sports. If you're a male, though, there's a certain side of the sport you have to play.
It's tough. I get it. And I feel that way solely because of the liability, solely because it's truly unfair for a biological female to compete against a biological male. Because even at this age, I mean, I could probably beat some high schoolers in a sport. Let's say we went one-on-one. There's a chance I could win because I'm just stronger and bigger. Not because I'm talented or because I'm
in what sport?
I'd say one-on-one in basketball.
No way.
Sure you can.
A high school kid that starts for his high school team?
No, female.
Oh, a female?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm strong. I'm naturally stronger.
Yeah.
Now there's a chance that a high school male guy can whoop my ass.
Yeah, absolutely. Will.
Because he's a lot bigger and stronger than I am.
And,
Even if we weigh the same amount, he'll dominate me because of physicalness. I mean, the fact is the numbers are what the numbers are. You're talking about such a small number of people in this category, but they're dominating in their field because of the physical unfairness. So I guess I have to go with safety measures and everything else. And I think anybody who allows their child to compete in an area with somebody who is that physically dominant than they are, it's not a good thing.